Hello, my name is Gabriel Raam, and this is an interpretation for the Book of Tao by Lao Tse. There have been 10 verses interpreted, and this is the 11th, and I'm sitting with 2 people I work with, and I will give an interpretation, and at the same time I will have a dialogue with you about it. This way it will be more alive. I'll start by reading it. 11. 30 spokes share the wheel's hub. It is the center hole that makes it useful. Shape clay into vessel. It is the space within that makes it useful. Cut doors and windows for a room. It is the holes which make it useful. Therefore, benefit comes from what is there, usefulness from what is not there. So I think that verse 11 is spirit of the Book of Tao, and it's the spirit of Zen. And as far as I know, Zen has evolved out of the Book of Tao when the Tao teachings moved to Japan. So this is the fountain, if you like. I want to say a few words about Lao Tse. When I read, of course I don't know much about Lao Tse, like everyone, I know a little bit about his biography. When I read it, there is a certain halo around the book. So, you know, you hear the Book of Tao, immediately you bow. So, when you tell someone, where does the Book of Tao come from? Well, it seems like it comes from heaven. That's the sense. Like, every verse here is the ultimate truth transmitted by God. And a person, which is not really a human being, have captured it and put it on paper. Very much like the Bible. I mean, the whole thing about the Bible and the Quran is that it's not a human being who wrote it, but actually transcendental objective truth. And people look at it as something which is that's it, like the sun or like the sky or the rest of it. You follow what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yes. And of course the Book of Tao is the most translated book after the Bible. So when you read the Book of Tao, you read it as though it's ultimate truth transmitted by God. Now, it's important for me to say that Lao Tse have been a human being just like us. When he lived, he was a simple human being who was going around like when you will go out of here to the street. He was a person that was a child, and he had probably a wife, and he struggled for living. And no one said he is chosen by God. And in his spare time, he was dealing with philosophy and thinking about the world. And in his spare time, he was sitting down and jotting a few thoughts. And when he wrote it, there was nothing holy about it. It's like many poets that write things and philosophers. I mean, it's like if you go now to the train station, go on the train, you see someone writing. If you're curious what you're writing, but thoughts about life. It could be Lao Tse. So, what am I doing when I'm saying this? I'm taking out of this writing the pompousness and the glorification of looking at it and saying, wow, this is truth. This is thoughts of a human being who reached a certain level of conscious development. And when he looked at the world from where he is, That's what he saw. Now, I think the greatness of this piece can only be appreciated if we understand, we talk about the human beings that had constipation and went to the toilet, and he was angry sometimes, and he fell in love with a woman when he was young and she refused him.
Yes.
And when we take into account that what wrote it lived in a normal human being, not glorified, but a person that couldn't stop searching for truth, and because he worked on himself or something happened to him, he reached a very high level of perception and observation. And this is the fruit of what came out of him. Now, what do you think about what I said, and does it do any revision in the way you come to the Book of Tao? Danny,
Yes,
if you can make it shortly, please.
I think it makes it harder, because it would be very much easier to say that
To put it up on a pedestal, yes.
Yes, and to bow and to worship it, it's a lot easier than to say everybody, or he was a normal person like me.
Well, what would give it the importance is the fact that a normal human being wrote it. It's an amazing piece of writing, but if you look at it as something that human being didn't write it, that it came from God, like, you know, how do you say tikshu in English? Channeling.
Channeling.
See, I couldn't respect channeling. I can respect a human being who got it out of himself because of his level. Not that some high entity said it and you need to bow.
Yes.
Okay, I'll read it again and then I will get to it. 11. 30 spokes share the wheel's hub. It is the center hole that makes it useful. Shape clay into a vessel. It is the space within that makes it useful. Cut doors and windows for a room. It is the holes which make it useful. Therefore, benefit comes from what is there, usefulness from what is not there. So, in this verse, he is dealing with a very powerful central concept of the Tao, which is nothing. In other words, void. And like everything else that he does, he takes our normal way of thinking and turns it upside down. And it's interesting, when I say he turns it upside down, it means that the normal perception is upside down to what the perception should be. And somehow we are mixing high and low. We are in a constant vertigo. We see high as low and low as high. And I think I said it last week, I don't remember in which session, that human beings are actually with the head on the floor and the legs are up.
Yes.
Which means sexual organs rule the desire of the stomach of the stomach rules the emotions in the chest, all three rule thinking, and consciousness is absent. And what should be, that the sexual desire should be the lowest, above that should be desires, above that emotions, and on top of that consciousness. So he's doing the same. He's saying something and nothing. There isn't two more powerful ultimate concepts in life than something and nothing. There are the total two poles of life. What there is, what there isn't. Now, why we are upside down? Because we ignore what there isn't and we glorify what there is. For us, what is not is threatening what is. So you can look at nothing as what comes to rob something. or you can look at something as the real reality hidden by something. And you know, you can do a painting by painting what is there, or relate to what is not there. If you relate to what is not there, what really wants to be can have a channel through which it can be. If you relate only to what there is, what you perceive in your limited perception, what there is, you block the higher what is, because the higher what is can only come through what is not. So the higher is your consciousness, the more you live in what is not there. So he's saying 30 spokes share the wheel's hub. It is the center hole that makes it useful. So let's talk about it, look at it this way. There is a wheel which actually shares with other 3 wheels a cart which is moving forward. The spokes seems to be the central figure because they take 90% of the wheel.
Mm-hmm.
In the middle there is a small hole, hub he calls it.
Mm-hmm.
And without the hole they couldn't really roll. It's the space in between that allows something to move.
Yes.
And it's interesting that he's saying it is the central hole that makes it useful. Then he's got another sentence. Shape clay into a vessel. It is the space within that makes it useful. A vessel could be a cup,
Yes.
could be a bowl, could be
Mhm.
anything. Yes. And we need space. I think in a guitar,
Yes.
it's another thing. If we talk about the human body, how much of it is space?
No.
I think more than 90%. If you look at at atom,
Ah, okay.
and then the electrons and the proton
Mm-hmm.
and neutrons are only very minute particles, but it's a huge space.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you take a chair, most of it is absence of the chair.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yes.
And there's many examples.
So I think there is fear of emptiness.
There's fear of emptiness. We also find emptiness in the conversation. We're all the time busy making the conversation full of words because we're afraid that the silence will swallow us inside, and we show that really we've got nothing to say.
Mm-hmm.
It will show that we are naked. So we are afraid of emptiness because emptiness will show that we are really empty.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But the message here, we should be empty. Because if we are not empty, nothing can pass through us. We should be a movement. We should be a dynamic movement. And this is only limited examples, a vessel and a hub. But we are actually an emptiness that something should move through, like a hotel.
Yes. So if you're empty inside, this is useful. And if you're not empty inside, you have a lot of benefit. This is what he's saying.
Yes, yes. And we look at emptiness as the opposite of nothing. That we have been robbed, cheated, and emptiness could be the end of something, or the beginning of something else. And as long as we are alive, emptiness is the beginning of something. We should be empty of ourselves and full of everything else. And the more you're empty of you, the more creation can move through you. We are like a hotel that guests are coming in saying, we want to come to the hotel. They knock on the gate and they get an answer from inside, sorry, we can't come in, the owner of the hotel is sleeping in your rooms.
Yes.
We are feeling the absence of ourselves with our ego, with our self-importance.
Mm-hmm.
And space is a symbolic of our fear of nothingness, because when we have an empty room, it's threatening to us. We move to an apartment that it's empty. See, you need to be creative to look at the emptiness as a possibility. You need to be an architect, an interior designer. But if you take a human being and says, oh, I need to move something inside, to put things inside. And in that you can see that the Zen culture, the way they design gardens, is that there's a huge space in the garden, and then you've got a lake or a stone, and most of it is space. And we should be allowing, we should be female. Female is absence. Male is something, is a presence. But he is useless unless he's got the absence of a woman to put his something in. Only then there could be a creation. But look at the male, the way he treats the woman. He says, I don't want your absence. I want to feel your absence. Man looks at the absence of a woman as a threat. The moment he sees an absence, he needs to feel it immediately. He doesn't understand that it's a gift for him to have an absence. He should move through the absence, not block it. Women are blocked by what men put in them. I remember a very nice line from an interview with an Israeli poet, Dalia Rabikovich. She got divorced, and the newspaperman asked her, how do you feel when you date men? She says, like an ashtray. He says, what do you mean an ashtray? He says, everyone thinks he should put his cigarette butt in my ashtray.
But I don't think Lao Tse meant to go all the way into, because he also he has nothing against shaping vases and about Will's hub and everything. He's coming against the common perspective of people that say that what is there is what is important.
Yes, I don't understand.
So the things that are there are also important, not only the things that are not there.
He's saying what is not there is what makes it useful.
Yes.
This is the central thing. What is there is what the Indians call Maya. This is the appearing world.
Yes.
The phenomenon world. What is appearing, hiding what is not there. The reality of something is what is not there.
I understand.
It's because without what is not there, what is there could not exist. What is not there is actually allowing, through it, something to move and to cause a phenomena. We are blinded by the phenomena. We worship the phenomena. In a way, we are like the described in the Bible. You worship all the goddesses made out of stone and all the rest of it. This is the seen world. This is the image world. You see, we are supposed to be advanced in science. We are the greatest worshippers of beauty ever existed. In one hand, we're saying we admire wisdom and success and achievement. On the other hand, if something is beautiful, we give everything for that beautiful. We are blinded by the outer appearance of things.
Yes. I want to ask you a question, because a lot of times you talk about dynamics. And dynamics can happen in space, in nothingness.
That's right.
But dynamics is something. So what you're saying is that the emptiness is not really empty.
It's also true. It's only empty to allow a movement to go through, from high to low. The emptiness, it's not a value on itself. See what he's saying here. He's saying the word useful several times.
Yes.
If you want to be useful, you need to be empty of you. You need to be empty of position. Your center needs to be not there. You need to be centerless. And see how many times the word useful is there. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 times. Let's move on. After he's speaking about the hub and the space within a vessel, he's saying, cut doors and windows for a room in the holes which make it useful. Now it's interesting. Without windows and without doors, what would a room be? I'll help you. Prison.
Prison.
So it's actually the windows and the doors that allows us to be in and out, to communicate, not to be prisoners. And then he's saying, therefore benefit comes from what is there, usefulness from what is not there. So it's interesting the differentiation that he makes between benefit and usefulness. How would we understand the word benefit? Benefit is I get something out of something. For example, you tell me, listen, I want to do a project with you. And I say, okay, and what's the benefit I will get out of it?
Yes.
Is there any benefit? Benefit is another word for interest.
Yes.
It's actually, we live in a world of interests. It seems that people are doing things because of usefulness, because of love. All this is an illusion. Basically, it's a game of interests. It's a war of interests.
Yes.
And nothing is done without someone having an interest. Someone reaping a benefit. And most of the benefits and the interests are material ones, which are to do with success, other people worshipping you, fame, things of that nature.
Yes. I saw yesterday a politician that said that he's going out of politics because he doesn't feel that he has an impact and he doesn't feel that he is useful. And what you're really saying is it's not that he's not feeling useful, that he doesn't get enough benefit from it.
He doesn't get enough benefit. But I want to say something more about the thing about interests. It looks on the outside as though things are free and flowing, but it's a very insistent, cruel world of interest. Everything is ruled by a very strict calculation. People look at you, they measure you, and they want to see how much benefit they get out of you. And in this way, your emptiness is squeezed out. You are measured by how much they can squeeze your somethingness into a benefit for that person. It's what I understand to be the base of the game theory.
Yes.
That in the end, everything is judged by a game of interests. People are trained and conditioned to look at the world through interest's eye. And those who do not manage to do it become losers.
It's true. It's true.
And in that interest thing and benefit thing, you get manipulation and all the rest of it. And we are actually becoming merchandise.
Yes.
You get a job, and the boss is looking at you. Is he a merchandise I can reap benefit from? So a person can judge himself and say, well, I'm no good because they thrown me out of 4 places and they wouldn't accept me to 30 places. Well, according to Lao Tse, you might not bring benefit to anyone, but you could be very useful.
Yes.
To whom? To you and to creation.
So there is an interest, but it is the interest of the creation, not the interest of other people, or something that is...
I don't know. I don't think that creation wants anything from anyone. It is just there. If you manage to get into the way of creation and to allow creation, great. You don't, it's okay. It could be wasted. You see, not to have any interests is to be neutral.
Yes.
I don't look at you as something I could use to reap benefit out of you. That's the way a lot of men look at women. You are an object.
Mhm.
Can I get an interest out of you? Now, women doesn't look at men this way. You can argue with me. It could be. It's tinted by social conditioning. But in the end, she wants to share her emptiness with someone that can appreciate it.
Mhm.
Because the greatest gift you can give to someone is space. We don't give space to each other. We rape each other to get benefit out of it. But with space to each other, you give them a place where he can be. A woman gives a space to a man and she tells him, I allow you, everyone squeezes you. Everyone wants to manipulate you. With me you can let your being be. I allow you the space. And instead of men saying, oh my God, thank you, at last I met someone who's giving me the space to be, he's using her. He's reaping benefit out of her. And thus making her unuseful.
Mm.
Because her greatest usefulness, there's only one usefulness. Giving space.
Yes.
Because if you don't give space, how can something be? Something can only be in a space. Space is a possibility to be. And you see how our thinking is upside down. We hate space. If you come to someone and say, hello, here is my space. Looks at you and say, oh, another sucker. I will take your space and will use your something for my factory of interests. Everything is a factory. You get spikes inside, you get clay inside, and you get out of it products. People for each other are possibility for products.
So true.
But I really want to. What if people work on themselves? Then they allow each other to be. They don't see each other as products, and they just let each other be.
Well, it's a very wide term, work on themselves. The question is, what do you mean? See, as long as you are busy with you, as long as you put yourself in the center, as long as you look at life as something which is supposed to bring you happiness, and you should use life, reap benefit out of life, so you would feel good, then your ego is ruling you. And as long as your ego is ruling you, you are spaceless. Because you are filled with desires, filled with conditionings, filled with wants, filled with desires. You are ruled by interest. And thus, when you're with other human beings, you throw something at each other.
Yes.
And the heavier is the something one throws at each other, he wins. And he gets the other person's space.
But what are
So if you are without your ego, if you don't want anything from life, if you are just there like a zombie, I'm there and I allow things to happen through me, then you can give space. Person without an inner space can't give space, because you need to have something to give it, and you need to have space to extend it. And I think the most precious thing in life is not gold, it's not wisdom, it's not religion, it's not spirit, space. This is the greatest commodity, which is very much absent and misused. Space. And that's why no one is. There is no being. Nothing happens. There is no dynamic flow, because there is no space. The moment there is space, we ignore it, and we want to take the phenomena to get benefit out of it. So we get to the last sentence again. Therefore, benefit comes from what is there. Usefulness from what is not there. Creation wants us to be useful.
But there is think something fearful in what Lao Tzu is saying, that from one hand he's saying, be empty. Now you said that people are robbing each other emptiness. And what happens to a person who really is empty and he goes out on the street and it's like a slaughter?
Well, it's totally stupid. I mean, if a person is empty and he just goes out without watching and just extends his emptiness, his space, to all the rapers and the robbers of space, he might as well go to the railway tracks and lie down and let the train run over him. And this is the stupid outsiders. A lot of women are like that, in that they think, well, I come to this wonderful man and I will give him my space. And he will appreciate it so much that a wonderful person like me gives him the gift of space. And they get disappointed each time again. You know, I know it could look funny, but I must say that I'm very sad about this.
Yes. This is naiveness.
Yeah, but I like naive people. They're great. That's why I love women. Because they continue to be naive.
Yes.
And men are manipulating. They don't want their space. They want the merchandise, the sexual merchandise that women present. They're stupid because the only chance for a man to be is through a woman, through a space that the woman gives him.
Yes. So you can be spacious, but not. You can be spacious and not be naive at the same time, and I think that
it's very difficult.
It's very difficult. And
to be spacious and not be naive means that you need to be a warrior. That's how women should be. They should go with their space, say, okay, I've got something that a man, if he will have it, will be very lucky. But I'm not going to give it for free. I'm going to give it for the right one. And then she's got a voice in her saying, yes, but what happens if I find no one that will appreciate my space? I will stay an old maid. Then she says to herself, well, better give the space to someone who doesn't worth it than risk it that no one will take my space. Emptiness could not stay empty for long. It needs to fill itself with something. And if it doesn't fill itself with what is above, it will fill itself with what is below. And we are empty. Either the life of creation can move through us, or we can throw into our emptiness like a garbage bin all the things that we can't live with. And that's one of the reasons why people hate their own emptiness, because when they go inside it's not empty. It's full of shrieking, frightening demons. It becomes a cellar, a garbage bin. And I want to end this session by saying that our stomach should be empty, but most of the time it's full. And just like our subconscious, which should be empty, our stomach is full with the wrong things. The most precious thing about the stomach is that it should be empty. And when it's empty, then what moves through us will have a resounding space, like in a guitar. And a person can feel life moving through him. He can feel the energy from his soul going up. But our stomach is closed all the time because it's full with things. And because we don't want to feel the emptiness of the stomach, we throw into it fast food with very stimulating things. And there's a lot of acid in this food, hamburger and all the rest of it, pizza. And when it's decomposed in the stomach, there's a lot of acids which cause us to want to put inside more food. And most people, most of their life, are running like mad to fill their stomach. so there wouldn't be the little bit of emptiness in it. And the moment there is, people are not really knowing what is real hunger. They are not allowing even minute hunger to be inside. The moment there is, they have to fill it up so there wouldn't be the little bit of space. And a person needs to train his stomach to bring it to be totally empty, and he will be with peace with his own emptiness. Only then this part of his body will not be closed. So should be with our emotions. Our emotions should be empty from our own emotions. We should not fill the space of the chest with what we feel, with what we want, with our hurt, with our love. It should be very, very quiet. Our emotions should not fill the space of the chest. So we can allow the soul, the Shakti, to go up the spine, through the stomach, through the chest, in her wish to come to the head. And the head should be empty also. We shouldn't have bothering thoughts. Our head is usually not empty 24 hours a day. All the time something is running in our head. Doesn't matter what. One thought jumps to the other. That's the object of meditation. To bring quietness to the head. But I ask you, what's the good of the head being quiet if the emotions are so filled with noises, with all kinds of emotions? If your head is quiet and your emotions are not, it won't help anything. It will fill the head.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that meditation today, despite the fact of what I said, because you see, people can do meditation because it's like a person who is looking for the money that he lost, not in the dark, but when there is light. There is light in our head compared to the emotions. Emotions, sort of darkness. So there isn't much spiritual work that I know which is to do with the emotions. But if you don't quieten your emotions, if you don't empty your chest, you did nothing. No meditation will help. But even so, yoga started as a meditation practice.
Mm-hmm.
People are uncomfortable doing meditation because what you said. Because when they do meditation, they feel the emptiness. I mean, people who do meditation, this what is called this meditation of 10 days, Vipassana, they report that it's a very frightening thing, because you meet what actually you shoved into your emptiness until you actually come to live with your emptiness. But meditation will not hold. It's too difficult. Yoga, as it is today, practicing all kind of strange ways of sitting, is what came in between instead of it. But the only reason why meditation came to practice is because we need to be empty and quiet inside so that life can move through us. Our inner life should move upwards, and the outer life through consciousness should move inside.
Mm-hmm.
Our emptiness should be the meeting point between the two streams of life. One from within and one from without. I will read once more this verse, and then we will end this session. Verse 11. 30 spokes share the wheel's hub. It is the center hole that makes it useful. Shape clay into a vessel. It is the space within that makes it useful. Cut doors and windows for a room. It is the holes which make it useful. Therefore, the benefit comes from what is there. Usefulness from what is not there. Today is the 30th of June 2009. Thanks for watching.